Sayin. We're coming at you from Tucson, Arizona.
Your last name is Leisure?
Laser.
You know what?
The dirty
His last name is Leisure. The lemon, the last melon. You fucking do it.
It's hot. But it's going to get hotter.
What they're saying it is. That's exactly what I'm saying, dude. Now, if I'm gonna try to talk to people, I have to.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. How sweet it is. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
The only way to get racism out of our society is to get down to
welcome. This is just saying. We're coming at you from Tucson, Arizona. The dirty tea. Yo,
No,
it's hot. But it's going to get hotter. Because we got a lot of shit to talk about. We got to get our shit. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Because have you looked around you lately? Wow.
Rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah. We're robbing Peter to pay Paul. You still broke ass
We were built
motherfucker.
off of slavery, and we still have that same template.
So what if I were to suggest to you guys that it's only that way because they say it is that way?
And we know there might be a whole
slavery
other way.
exists, and that's not a hoax, and nothing's changed.
What if you
It's just
only
more virtual.
owe that money
It's just more virtual.
because
Like
they say you owe that money?
They definitely say you owe that money.
Of course they
And
do,
they'll
but
take
what
your
makes
house.
them right?
They'll take
And they'll
your
garnish
house
your
if you
check.
don't pay.
Yeah,
they'll garnish
they
your
can,
check.
but
They'll
does
take your
that-
shit.
They'll garnish your check.
they can do it.
They
Unless
do.
you Pay
They
them
do.
something, and let's start paying.
And they
And
do
They
it.
put people like Blade. What is his name?
Wesley Snipes.
They put people like him in jail.
Tax evasion.
They
And
do.
what did they get Al Capone with?
You know why?
What did
Because
get
they
him
want to make
Ruin
examples of people
What?
who
Al
know.
Capone?
I don't want to get too detailed about it, but you remember how I was telling you guys the other day about choosing your own reality?
Yeah.
In my life, just as much as I don't have to agree with how people feel about me, I don't have to accept people's labels of me. You know what I mean? It's all about how I
How you
am
perceive
and my
it.
relationship
That's
with
what
God.
LGBTQ is on right now.
Of course.
That's what they're on.
And that part of it is right. That
Ain't
part
no-
of it
ain't
I
no-
think
ain't
is
no
cool.
parts because
I don't have any
there's
beef
no
with
parts
that
to
part
what
of
you
it.
just said.
I
Death
choose.
Death in Texas is definitely guaranteed.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not. That's
In
what they
America,
tell
it
you,
is.
though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
That's
you
what
don't
we're
wanna-
led
you
to
don't want
believe.
to chance it and be like, well, it's
It's
just
a
a
luxury
new,
to have
we're just a new
electricity.
empire, right?
Hey, it's a luxury to have electricity.
So they created something that we
Invented.
absolutely
And
need.
you know what? We invented it, Americans.
Yeah, we humans, not
No.
Americans.
Well,
Well,
as far
we
as,
did
as far
invent-
as this electricity,
we didn't
but
invent
I've heard about
electricity.
some Baghdad batteries.
I'm saying, dude. It's not.
So it's up to us to kind of do our research and discern things.
So look, I blame our
I
parents.
think we need to
'Cause
learn.
our
I think we
parents-
need to learn more than one language. That's what we can do as adults.
We
is
can
learn
do that.
more than one language
We can
in order
absolutely
to
do
really
that.
discern and do the research what region and language things were written in, and then we can get a more clear understanding
Right.
versus it being converted into English. Starting with the Bible, because that was a Latin book, wasn't it?
Dude, I think we should start over with the Bible.
They wouldn't even convert it over to English for a while just to maintain
It's been
control.
edited and
They're like,
over-edited so
we're not
much
gonna have control
that
once we convert
it doesn't even say what the fuck it said in the first place.
And put the real books
It's
that are
converted.
in there, the lost
Yeah,
books.
it's
all
been
of them.
edited and it's
And there's
meant
more
to
books.
say.
There's more books than the Bible.
There's
what
definitely more.
I would
books.
almost go as far as to say, forgive me, that the Bible is almost a slight to God.
Like
That one scared you, didn't it?
Should we look at all
You're
the
like,
books
ooh
that?
wee, that was
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of fucking, I don't know.
Because there's some
Let me
serious books,
explain
though.
that though.
People believe word for word. That's not the Bible.
Right, but let me ask you this: why did that hit you so hard?
Because like,
That was an attack. That was a straight up assault on the Bible, huh?
Again.
You know what? You know what though?
Bible's a book.
This edited Bible is exactly like any other abridged book that you've ever read. It takes the original work and turns it into something palatable, something that you can digest, something that you can
Manifest.
relate to.
For us.
So
And-
like
and
it's
this.
like, and then it's the Bible
For
is
this
like
matrix.
the Bible's like basic instructions before leaving Earth.
So listen, what about if the
Quran-
Bible
the
was
Quran too.
engineered
Quran too.
and the Quran, the Torah, and all of it was engineered for
Different
a
people.
lost time,
Yeah,
a time that was different than our
I
time.
can see that. I can see that.
So now we have to reinterpret it.
I can see that.
So like all of these scholars from like the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, all up to now are still studying the Bible.
Right.
And one thing that they do know for sure from all the research I've done is that it's all in contradiction of itself.
Yeah, exactly.
What it's been is
That's
it's
what
been-
got me right there
it's
when you
been
said
watered
that.
down.
Like,
It's true.
because our
It's
population has grown.
Because
so
look,
much.
you got.
But as Catholics,
you got the
right,
Book
if
of
we're
Mary.
devout,
Look,
right?
Look, you got the Book of Mary. You got the Book of Jesus.
so many books were
What
left out
happened
that
to,
it's not
yeah.
fair.
There's so many
Book of
books.
Enoch.
Like it doesn't tell the whole story.
So many books.
Basically.
It's politics.
Old
And
Testament.
it's the beginning of classified information.
So that's what we have to end before we can ever rebuild. It's like this. I know it sounds ridiculous, but if you take a gun, right, and a gun owner, and you're like, listen, we got to get rid of the guns. If a gun owner is a human being at all, everybody knows why we should get rid of guns. There's no question.
Because the places that don't got them.
Because that levels the playing field. Period. Got to get rid of guns. No more guns. But that means cops don't have guns. White people don't have guns. Black people don't have guns. Nobody has guns. Then that way, we will be a gunless society. And that is going to take us breaking down the entire thing. It's just like racism. Racism has found its way into every nook and cranny of our society. So just like the planet,
I think that's why
we got to go down to nothing and go, we fucked up from the very beginning.
Some people are seeing that because they're
the kids, the youngsters.
The kids that they're questioning after they're doing these mass shootings or whatever, they feel some type of threat from the numbers of white people declining. I forget what they're calling it, but they feel a sense of insecurity because you guys are going to become the minority here really quick.
Absolutely.
I forget what they call it.
We already are. Are you kidding me? We're talking about things like, what do they say?
90%.
White privilege and all that horse shit.
It's going, the numbers are like, because of the border.
That's just like this. That's just like
they
this.
want that border to stop.
That's just like this,
That's why they
Chris.
want that border to stop.
Hey, that's just like this, Chris.
I hope
just like,
this
okay,
isn't
there's
over
four
the
of
top,
us.
but
That's just four of us. Say there's four people. You and me, and then two white, and then two white people, and the white boy and the Mexican cat. Me and you are two. They got four positions open, and they can only take and two positions are only filled left. You and I are a shoe-in for the position, but they don't take us.
here's the thing, though, bro.
If
somebody,
so there's a little bit of difference, and the difference is that our ancestors was on the slave side of it. Your ancestors was on the slave master side of it.
So there's
and
resentment.
that's just reality.
That
That's
is reality.
being skated around. That is the elephant in the room that we still won't address as Americans.
You know, as the elephant in the room. If
Because
the elephant was
you don't want to
standing-
feel like you're a descendant of the slave master.
No.
You don't want to feel that way.
I
And maybe
don't.
you're not. Maybe your genetics just got here and you wasn't here then.
I'm a descendant of Yeshua. That's the only thing.
No, but I'm talking about America.
I know, but in America,
Because
it's
I'm
like-
a descendant of
And then
Yeshua
that's
too.
where, that's where the,
I hope
the
that
white
The
my
problem,
family
the
has
problem
nothing
that you're
to
talking
do
about feeling uncomfortable to be about the white privilege,
yeah, that's
and
when
it
that
being
comes.
the same word
That's
as
when
nigga,
that part
is because we haven't
addressed.
addressed slavery yet.
Yeah.
You don't want to identify with being from the slave master, but we have no choice of identifying from being from the slave genetics.
You know what? Nobody's ever said that to me like
We
that.
should talk about it in school, but they say that's preaching hate, and they kill the ethnic study program.
No, it's not preaching hate. It's like, hey, let's actually
That's
talk
what
about
DeSantis is saying.
That's
It's
just like nobody taught us in school.
TUSD killed
Like nobody
ethnic
taught
studies.
us in school about budgeting. Nobody taught us.
No.
That was always an AP class.
But we ain't even
That's
talking.
what
We ain't
I
even
was
talking
for.
about that.
economics and
No,
shit.
but we ain't
That
even
was
talking
the
about
But it
that.
is part of
We
it.
talking
You have
about
to admit.
American history and the real
Right.
American history versus some fake shit that they teach us in school.
So
It's programming, and you're right. They program us to think the way we do.
fucking ain't
K
right.
through
They
12.
do biases.
But
They,
It's not.
Like at some point,
It's
you
not
guys
the right-
got
it's not the right narrative.
I did.
They're
I did
teaching.
what I had to do.
They're
I got
teaching
to
you
look
not to identify with being a descendant of the slave masters.
Like
You're
educational,
right.
like
You're
But
right.
we're
they are.
forced to always believe, and by the whole establishment, that we're lower by that use of the N word.
You don't think that I think that, right?
oh no,
No, I'm just
no,
getting
You don't
into-
think that
I'm just
my
getting into
people
the-
think that,
Heaven,
right?
no.
I
Like,
think that
there's
a
good
lot-
people and there's
I
bad
think
people.
that white people do not identify with being descendants of the slave
No,
owners.
we absolutely.
That's
do
why
not.
you don't like that word entitlement.
It,
And
yeah,
that's all
I
it is.
don't.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
But it
It's the
also,
same thing.
it also.
That's all it is. That's
It
300 years.
projects.
No, that's 300 years. And then that's
But-
Jim Crow after that.
No,
Up
before
up
that,
until the 50s.
2000
Up until Martin
years,
Luther
bud.
King. And Martin
Hey,
Luther King
2000
and Malcolm
years.
X. They couldn't even allow them two to live.
Hey, 2,000 years, book plus. 2,000
You're right.
years, bud.
There's no doubt about that. Dude.
It's not about me being right.
Just
it's
like fucking
it's
Kennedy.
It's American
It's
history.
just like Kennedy too.
Right.
They didn't want him.
That
opening
he
his
was
mouth
he was
either
he
about
was
shit.
no, he had too much love for people.
Yeah.
So
He was
they had to
talking
get
the
him
same
out
shit
the
that-
way.
He was
He would
saying the
serve
same
2 terms
shit.
if he was
Let's
here.
have a conversation. That's what he was saying.
They can't kill you no more. Otherwise,
know what?
Obama would have been dead.
So maybe
Yeah.
that is it. Maybe you guys haven't had the chance to be able to
Maybe
fucking say,
the United
listen,
States, we
man.
always say it, and we get killed. The United States, no, the United States just has to apologize for it. But once they apologize for it, now we got this legal shit,
Well, you
and now they got the
reparation.
reparations.
So
and that's $3 trillion.
need reparations.
what would be
That's $3 trillion.
what would be an appropriate $3 trillion?
Yeah,
would
what
be
we built for this country during 300 years of slavery is equivalent to that.
only that.
That's what I'm saying. They wanted to. Ice Cube was trying to
Only
negotiate.
$3 trillion.
Ice Cube was trying to negotiate 500,000 with Trump. Like, but even 3 trillion would get.
Dude, it should be like 10 trillion. Are you kidding me?
Three trillion would get each African American about $1 million.
The contribution
About $1 million.
that your people made to this
For
country
300.
We built the
Yeah.
White
against
House,
their
man.
own
It should-
fucking will.
It
built
should
the
be
White House.
30. It should be probably what our national deficit is because
we built
it's
the
all
White
cotton.
House, man.
We still wearing cotton now, right? That's
Yeah.
from 300 years ago.
I'm sorry.
You know what I mean?
We built the White House, man. They were going to build the White House in Colorado in the middle of the country, but then they just decided to build it in D.C.
But
Hey, the
we
French.
identify with our slave
I can show you what the original
descendants.
Statue of
You need
Liberty
to
was supposed
identify
be
with
like.
your slave master descendants and put that to sleep
Hey, I can show you
because it's not even being addressed.
Hey,
You know
Bug,
what?
remember what I
The
showed
most I
you?
told me I already had.
I can show you what the original Chris.
Actually,
can
Then
show
you
you-
should
now that
not.
you
Then you
mention
should
that.
not view being called entitled as the N word.
That's a human error of mine.
All right.
That's
Because I can't,
That's a
I couldn't let that ride.
I know, and that's cool. You
As
should
long as
have.
you know that you're from the descendants of the slave owners, as
I
far as
get it.
America.
Yeah,
In America.
I'm.
Because we had Egypt and we had the Jews for slaves.
You know what? You're right because I come
We had,
from
you know,
from English and Irish.
because that's really who you could tell who the real Americans is. Some of them, their parents just got here.
So let
Or
me
your
ask
great,
you this.
if your grandfather just got here, I don't even really consider you as part of building America either.
Oh hell no! Dude.
Definitely
My
not
people
part
have
of the
been
not part of the slaves. But
Oh,
yeah, if you
yeah.
identify with your people being here, then that's what you're
here. Yeah, totally.
that's what you're admitting to.
I will admit, on no uncertain circumstances,
Hey, I can show
that-
you what the original a picture of what the original Statue of Liberty was supposed to look like.
that my people have wronged your people.
Yeah, and my people were emperors and gods
Hey,
and
this
kings.
not even
for a
the
Fuck
right
long
yeah,
It's
fucking
just,
A.
it's just your time right now, as
Hey,
far
that's
as
not even.
America
Hey,
is
that's not
concerned.
even Chris.
So
That's not
now
even the
that
right,
we're in that
that's
time,
not even the right
allow me
statue.
to
It's
speak.
changing. It's
Allow me to
changing.
speak.
Hey,
We've
Chris,
had
it's not
Obama
even the
in
right
office.
Statue of Liberty.
We ain't had a
bro.
woman yet, and
It's
you're
not.
talking about women over in Europe, but we ain't had a woman president. So
No.
you know
So
what's the
we're
difference?
just
What's the
as-
difference between that Arab with the mask on? Is there a difference?
You know what, man?
Hey, it's not the
Nobody
right Statue
fucking
of
puts
Liberty
it to me
either.
like
I'm
you
gonna
do.
find
Is there a
that picture.
difference? We ain't had no woman
Makes
president.
me think.
And
Like
we
it to me makes
there's
me
not even any signs of us going to get one anytime soon. Why is that? It's the veil. We own the same shit, but it's more deceptive than what the Arabs do. They do it straight up and personal.
So
We're
how
the
do we
same.
break down the veil? What do we do to? So how do we stop
voting for a woman to be the emperor of the United States?
the emperor? Empress?
The Empress.
The president.
Okay,
Our
I'm
Prime
down.
Minister.
Like Hillary was close. Hillary
Dude,
was
I
close.
can't believe they didn't
Hillary
elect.
was close.
Dude,
She
there's
was
some
close.
bullshit
She
behind
She
that.
should have got it, but if she
She's
wasn't
a gangster,
Clinton's,
dude.
if she wasn't Clinton's wife, then she would have got it.
You know what?
That messed it up.
I want to say right here on live television that it's bullshit that
She
Hillary
shoulda got
didn't make it.
She should have got it.
And she
Then
did
we end up
actually
with Trump.
win.
Then we end up. Yeah, she actually won the
She
popular
won
vote.
the fucking
It's
vote.
the guys.
Fucking dudes.
It's the guys.
The swinging dicks.
Yep.
They're like, we're not letting go of
Like,
this shit.
no, they're like hell no.
You know what? I'm to the point
It
where
was
I'm
fun
just like,
letting you
let it
think
go.
that. It was fun letting you think that.
Yeah. I'm like, fine, run the world, mama.
I thought she was going to do it, but Obama, we didn't see him coming out of nowhere.
I want to go.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do,
Nah, she should have got
You
it.
go- yeah, she shoulda.
She got raped.
she had everybody's number and,
And
the
then they had this
BlackBerry.
whole email thing, and
Yeah.
you know now you
And
got Trump actually
They're
being
probably
indicted.
right, but you know
And
what?
then
If
she's
I
not
want
even
a
indicted on
president,
anything.
but if I want the president of my United States, I want that motherfucker to have some connections. I want that motherfucker to have been the Secretary of State
Yeah.
before and
And I
have
want him-
everybody's
and I want him-
number
I want
in
him
my
to be-
book.
I want him to be for the people, not for the
Yeah.
business first.
And then take
Business
that.
second, people first.
Yeah, you take that and then you give it back to the people. But you know what? Hillary got caught up in the bureaucracy of it all and
And
didn't
the
even
media,
get.
the media
I
did it
believe
pretty bad.
had she been president, she would have actually given back more than what Trump did. Trump
Trump's a
gave cash
businessman.
back.
He's a businessman.
But you know what Hillary would have done, man? She
Trump
would
didn't
have
give us
straight up
any
held.
cash. He
You
gave
know,
us
that
he gave us
motherfucker made
his-
us look so
He
stupid.
did a tax cut that gave his buddies a lot of cash.
I don't know why he didn't just let Putin come in his mouth when fucking he was on national television that night. And he was like kissing Putin's ass. Oh. That's why I think this whole
Ukraine
fucking...
would have definitely folded if by now. If
That's what they say. I think Ukraine
so.
and Russia are in it
Because
together,
what's-
damn it.
But would it be different if Trump
No.
was in office?
Yeah.
How?
It wouldn't... I don't think that it would be nearly as
long
polarized
Yeah.
as it is right now.
Russia would have taken Ukraine, and there would be no.
I'm not sure
There
what
would
the
be no
outcome
more.
would have been, but it would
Ukraine
definitely
would-
be different
Ukraine
than
be
what
gone.
it is right
Or
now.
at least half of it would go on. Like even Trump said, "Yeah, I can solve it real quick in one night." Yeah,
Because he probably can.
No, yeah, if he gave half of Ukraine to Russia, yeah.
But we're not going to give him the presidency because he can do a backroom deal with Russia.
Well,
He's like,
if we
yeah, I
voted
got a lot
him
of money in
office,
here.
we
I
voted
got
him
some
in office
friends.
just like the last time,
Fuck him, man. That fucking dude is.
He's sleazy.
He's fucking just gross.
But we just need like people in office.
But he's not the Antichrist. That's what pisses me off. I wish he was, because then we could just.
No, you don't want to give him that much credit.
Nuh-uh, hell no.
He's nowhere near being divine on that level. He's not an angel. Way too much flesh to be an angelic.
You know who is, though?
No.
He's that Zelensky or whatever his name is.
Zelensky? He seems to be tough. He walks around his battleground. He seems to not be wavered. And he seems to...
I hope he's for real,
He seems
dude.
to be in the field.
If he is for real, it gives me hope in the human
Putin is in his palace somewhere hiding, and then they had a couple drones that blew up close to Putin's place, and then he was crying, talking about they were trying to kill him.
Yeah, they're trying to kill you. Dumbass.
He's like, they're trying to kill me.
He's like, I thought I could just go rogue and do this on my own. And then say that everybody was behind me.
They had to make sure that it wasn't, that it was an accident or something, because I guess you ain't supposed to just be attacking the compound of the commander.
No, the summit or whatever, the G10 or whatever the fuck
they
it
blew
was.
his shit up.
They were like, listen, you can't be like blowing up the place where the dude is. You can't do that.
But see, Putin is blowing up residential areas and apartments.
And people are starting to not care what the G whatever says. They're like, listen, how about we just stockpile our weapons? How about we get a bunch of weapons from the Americans?
Man, that's what China comes into
play.
Fight them. China's like, no, we're not going to do what Americans.
You know what? When they asked for a sub,
China was like, no.
When they asked for a sub, the jig's up.
Yep.
And that's bad.
We sending F-16s now.
Yeah, we're already giving them planes. Haven't we learned our lesson? Didn't we do the same shit like Nicaragua?
What we're going to get is half of the resources in Ukraine when we liberate them. That's what it is. And they got oil and all that shit. We just don't understand that Ukraine is the breadbasket.
So they're just like, oh, watch. Let's just start
a
little fire.
He's going there.
Let's pretend to fight for a while. And we'll get a bunch of money from the Americans.
For a reason. Not all the other countries that was in Russia. He's going to Ukraine for a specific reason. And it's because they got all the resources. It's like the middle of the country.
It's the heart of the whole thing.
They got everything there.
There's like 20 nuclear reactors.
They got everything that they've been independent for 30 years or however long after Rocky and them and shit. they're strong. They got a lot of people there.
There is no tomorrow.
So it's not so easy for them to reunite Russia. I mean, reunite the USSR, because they don't want to be united.
Would you say that it would be comparable to the North-South philosophy?
Of the United States?
The theory of...
Yeah, those two. Yeah.
Back then?
The South was cotton and slaves and tobacco and generating a whole lot of income, and the North was business. So, the South was the breadbasket. They wanted to stay the breadbasket and keep their own percentage. They didn't want to go in a percentage of this whole shit.
So where does slavery fall into that?
For the South?
For everyone.
Well, the rest of the world banned slavery. We were the at least like 100 years before we stopped. But that was a big industry to even make it so that we have the type of clothes that we have. The slaves grew the cotton. Now, they used to grow a lot of hemp, but they went away from hemp. And in the South, it's hot and humid, so they went to cotton
and then they started
tobacco.
Fucking with hemp.
You know the cigarettes that you grow, that you smoke? Slaves grew the original strains of those. All the tobacco here. But there was tobacco that the Native Americans were growing. It was native from here, right? The Native Americans were growing the cotton, and they were master growing the corn too.
They were growing the weed too. They were.
No, it's more than the weed. It was hemp. Before cotton, all the clothes and all of the fibers and string and all that was from hemp. And you had to grow hemp on your land in America before it was America in order to pay your taxes. So basically, people grew hemp on their land You got 1,000 acres. You grow some hemp. That's your
to
taxes.
pay into the common collective, right? So why don't we go back to that? That's what I'm talking about.
Because it was more valuable to get these people from one continent to the other continent, actually own them and have them be the labor that's free to grow this new product called cotton.
So it was somebody always took the brunt.
African Americans were the ones that took the brunt as far as the United States is concerned, as far as building the foundation of America. The Native Americans, unfortunately, their building blocks was just being removed. Now, then you got the Irish that came that helped build the big cities. They were the masons that built the buildings and shit. But before the buildings and all that, for all those hundreds of years, it was slaves growing agriculture. And we were shipping cotton all over the world. It was a worldwide thing.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody wear cotton now.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know how there's even still cotton in the world.
Everybody wears because it's...
Like,
because we still grow it.
So many
it's just
people
easier to grow.
We still grow.
All it takes is for a slave to figure out the cotton gin to make it and then it just goes from the cotton gin
so
to
we can to today.
To today, it's a machine.
It's like the cotton gin almost started the whole goddamn thing, dude. Everything. It just kicked it all
It
off.
started slavery. It started the end of slavery. That's what it did. It started the end of it.
Good.
Because now they didn't need the manpower as much. So it wasn't such a big deal. And I bet you things softened up. I bet you more selling of slaves, period, themselves when the cotton gin, because they don't, you used to need 100 of them to do this. Now you need 10.
Can you say that again?
They probably got into selling slaves one for each other when the cotton gin happened to make money off of the slaves. They probably started selling them. Or I hear they started
just to recoup their money, basically.
Not even not to recoup their money because they've 10 times their money because they got the cotton gin. Now they don't need 100 slaves for this 10 acres. They only need 10.
Okay.
So they've raised their margin up times 1,000. They don't need so many slaves, so they sell them for pennies on the dollar.
So let me ask you this:
pennies on the dollar.
What about the fucking dude that had slaves and they were his boys?
That's Lincoln. That's
you know what I mean? Like
Washington.
They were like his ride or die. You know what I mean? Like the people
that's a plantation, and that
sustained
did
his
exist.
Life. You know
that did exist.
All of their lives.
That's the only reason why that I believe that me and Brandon can be here, because that existed. Otherwise, we would just got worked and grinded all the way to just slowly being genocide versus the Native Americans.
Right.
We would not have survived.
That's
if there wasn't any of the other side of it, the humanistic side of it, you know. But there was a very strong inhumanistic side of it.
Totally.
So, that being said, slavery was on the north and the south, not just the south.
Right.
Get that out the way.
Yeah.
They were just nicer up there in the north. But who knows when you start getting into all that psychological stuff? What's the difference?
South, I stayed in
What's
my
the
own
difference?
But isn't it the psychological? Because things have to start with thought. Like we have to
somebody
rethink
has to be
it.
the employees.
We have
right?
to rethink.
So So now I see it like the employees. What's the difference? It's that same dimension. And, you know, I just call them W-2 slaves. I ain't trying to talk shit about people getting jobs and working and shit, but it's real.
Right. It's real.
It is.
And you got no choice but to pay taxes.
And you know why that is?
You have no choice but to have a job.
That goes
or they call you a loser.
Right. That's what I'm saying, bro. We only buy into that.
You ain't even using no electricity. You ain't even using nothing. You might be hunting your own food and all that.
Fishing.
Yeah.
Fucking doing whatever.
You ain't even
gotta do
participating. They need you.
We gotta go fishing too, y'all. One of these days, we gotta go fishing. I'm sure you guys like to fish.
No, his cousin goes a lot.
Love me some Silver Bell Lake.
Yeah, they be catching some
whenever. Are you
catfish.
with us?
Oh yeah,
big shit.
I'm just absorbing some shit.
Yeah,
because
it's a lot to absorb.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta kick back and listen to
it. It is, bro. Though you know what I mean. It's important.
Try to maintain independence, even though that we're in the matrix and we have no choice.
Do you think that we can stop it?
It's not a whole lot.
Can
it's
we
not
put the
stop.
brakes
it's like
on
a hamster wheel.
That's
like
makes
a continuous
it's like who
answer.
But
we are.
is it just like that because they say
It
it is?
generates the
They want,
trillion.
yeah.
Okay, so what if I were to present to you again that all the money that they say you owe them, all of the spiritual attrition
Okay.
that
I can
you
see
must
that.
pay,
I can see that.
right?
I can see that.
What if it's only that way because they say it's that way?
It's the state of
Every,
mind.
Because that's
everything
what-
is the way it is because they're saying
I
it.
know, but listen,
State
That's
of
the way
mind.
it is.
what if
State of mind.
everything...
Like who knows? Maybe slavery didn't really happen.
Maybe we came here and the very first people that we remember having any conscious contact with our mind at all are our parents, right? So they immediately start uploading all of their
Programming.
shit
And your
right into
environment.
your brain.
They drop you off at daycare, you're getting programmed.
So everything that you're getting is exactly what you're getting from them. So let's look at this. This is really important. Let's look at it like a computer, okay? You're a new folder, right? So the hard drive, whatever the hard drive might be, is going to upload
Or the motherboard. if you will.
into that folder what it wants. Let's say that folder is a project. It's going to upload that shit. Everything that it needs to know to perform that
Test.
exactly.
Exactly. That's what it is.
So
They got some
it doesn't
pretty
know
AI.
anything else. It
Artificial
has no
intelligence.
idea about anything else except for what it's been told its mission is. From the moment it opens its eyes. I've never heard anything else in my entire life, and all of a sudden people start saying, this is how you say yes, this is how you say no,
What
this
you
is
say
how
it to.
you,
Yep.
this is how you talk, this is how you walk.
Program.
Man, that could
And all of
into
that, and
Etiquette.
all
etiquette,
of that
Etiquette.
is depending on where you come from
They call
on
it
the
etiquette.
planet, you know? So like, you don't ever even get a chance as a human
No,
being
to live yourself.
to find out truly on your own. You have to fight through all of these biases and shit. Everything that everybody has taught the people that brought you into the world
That's when the drugs come into play.
is
and
what they
everything.
teach you.
think
So that's what
they can-
you believe.
They can help
Then-
to get the DNA testing. Then you start getting into where your previous people were before your parents.
Right. But we're doomed from the start if we continue to operate on this mindset. Because when that changes, then it will naturally breed out of people these things that we so despise about our own species, like racism, like hatred,
Stereotype.
like fucking
Everything.
anxiety,
Yeah.
like depression, like
That would be
anger. We
almost
have
like
to breed this
Dependency,
just like you would a
codependency,
plant.
yeah, exactly.
You have to breed the shit out of us.
I would say you can't breed 100% out, but the
Probably not.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that,
yin and yang.
but that's balance, right? That's where we balance. You know, I think that everything that you stand for is everything that I stand for, no matter what color we are. You know what, dude? The only friends I have are black, and I love that. I have more black friends, totally more black friends than I do white friends. You want to know why? They're funny. They're athletic. You guys have a point of view about things that makes me put my point of view in perspective.
I can do that.
So you would be one of those good slave masters, not one of the bad ones.
No, you guys would totally be my boys.
He said we'd be house niggas, boy.
Because
We'd
I'm
be
not-
on
I'm not
we'd
letting
be
you
on
out.
horses and
I'm not
shit,
letting
and
you
we'd
out of
be
the
out
white
tearing
privilege.
shit up.
The
But
retirement,
then,
I'm not letting you out of that.
But then this is what people.
It'd
but then,
be just
but then
like
this
it
what
is
people
right
do,
now.
though. People say.
But
say,
even though
people say,
even though it would be like it is right now,
It would.
do
It'd
you
be
think,
better
do
than
you
that.
think that you would
But
still
then-
be on a different level?
But then
than
there's a
us?
movie.
Yes, I do.
Hey, but then there's a
Me
movie,
myself, yes.
That's all they're saying.
I
about
can't say
entitlement.
that
Hey, but
for
then there's a
anybody
movie.
else.
There's a movie.
But
out-
I can't say
That's
that.
all
and
they're
there's a
saying about
movie out right now,
That's all.
and a lot of people do this.
A lot of
And a lot of
assholes
people
out
still
there.
stereotype. They're like, "You guys are awesome. How about we're people?"
No, you are people, but that doesn't justify
No,
it.
no. Like
That doesn't quite
They
get
got
it.
a movie. They got a movie
No,
out
the
with Eddie
reason
Murphy
why
Because you guys are badass.
the
You're
reason
fucking athletic.
why is for 300 years of a certain condition.
more than that book, like 2,000 or more.
It's like us trying
Years
to come out.
that we were slave. America wasn't here 2,000
No,
years
but
ago.
we
Yeah,
were
but
here.
Consider this.
No, I'm talking about slavery.
Right.
That was 300 years.
I was gonna say
That's
he's
fa-
been
that's a
here.
no, but you understand that's a very short period,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
I
And I
understand
think
that.
that's part of why we can't get over it because it is such a short period.
Just like we can't get over that mind. So like this is
But
good
it's
that
still
we're
it's
doing
still
it.
it's still affecting though, even though it was only 300 years of.
That's what we gotta let go of.
Give
That's the
everybody a
unsung
million.
thing. That right there, whatever it is,
It's
as
reparations.
awkward as it
It's
feels,
reparations.
that's the
And I think
thing.
it's just an apology. Even Obama could not. He would have got killed. He must have got his life threatened. He couldn't go and apologize for the United
I
States
can't believe it.
for
He
Rush
fucking
for
made it.
slavery. Biden still he has a chance right
You know
now.
what, dude? Nobody's gonna
Trump-
go down in history
Trump had
like
a chance.
Obama.
Trump be courting us. He ain't talk nothing about no reparations. But
Because he's a racist fucking.
California as a state, they just approved reparations for California as a state, so they're gonna start paying.
So
So I was born there. I wonder if I get
Yeah.
something.
I'm sure
Probably
you do.
would.
Probably do. As
You
well,
never know.
you should.
Yeah,
Because
you
that's
know.
a
You get your
that's a
birth certificate,
very
bud.
large resource.
Your whole family
area.
could get
No, I was the only one born there.
yeah, you can get it.
My dad was born in Oakland.
And you can get reparations in Arizona.
You know what I'm saying,
There's
dude?
no reparations for Arizona yet.
Is that
And
there
probably
shouldn't
never will be.
Yeah, well, never
there shouldn't have to be a program in order for you to
Get
get
reparations.
what is
It's-
coming to you.
It's sad. It's just an apology.
There's more than
It's all-
enough
it's
money in
just an
this
apology.
world
And it's acknowledgement.
to go
It's almost
around
like our
everybody.
country has not acknowledged slavery as
As it should.
as an establishment.
As it should. You're right.
Because they
There's
will have
no
no choice
question
but
about it.
acknowledge that we're like $30 trillion worth of the economy.
So what do you attribute
Because
that to?
the old money is worth so much.
Old
more.
money?
It's worth so much. The old money built this.
It's blood money. Oh, blood.
Like we
money.
built
So
every-
then
we
we
built
have to
everything
blame
but
the
we
new
built everything.
generation of old money then, right? So it would be the kids
You-
of these
you-
motherfuckers
But y'all
that
don't
we
want
should
to
be talking
understand that
about.
y'all benefiting from the old money. When you get offended when you hear entitled like it's an N word.
Mhm.
That's where we have to start. You have not. That's why they close. That's why they don't want to teach it in school because they make.
Or
Imagine if you're
economics
8,
or
9,
anything
10.
that they wanna
Imagine
push
how you
that
would
to
feel.
school.
Like how you feel when someone call you a title. Now, imagine that if that was like in junior high or something. That's why they're trying to kill the programs. But I think it made whites more liberal when they did that back in the days. Like for us, back in junior high, they were teaching all this
Okay,
stuff. And
so-
they had an African American study department.
So
and all
we're
that.
we're friends, right?
Yeah.
So we can talk about these things, yes?
We're talking about it.
So then why is it then that we still feel like this?
Because our establishment has not apologized. That's why you can't identify
What would it take?
the government to apologize.
Would you let it
Reparations.
go afterwards?
Of course.
Who knows?
You know, I've learned a lot just in the short time that I've been doing this show. I've had a lot of conversations with people about a lot of different things. But every now and then, you know, subjects come up that, are the real deal, you know? It's hard for me to imagine that no one has done this before. But the more I think about it, the more I can't help but feel compelled to say this. I'm a 52-year-old man living in the United States of America. I am white, as you can see. I've never owned a slave. I've never known anybody that's owned a slave. I've never engaged in slavery. However, being sensitive to how other people feel and listening to the words of their mouth had led me to believe that this is appropriate. So I just want to say to all of my black brethren of all, so I just want to say that although it seems nearly impossible to me that nobody has ever come out and openly apologized for slavery, let me just say and allow me to speak for every other white man who has a heart, has a brain, and can think for themselves, that we apologize. I apologize. I had nothing to do with it. The closest I've ever gotten to slavery is watching Django. But it was horrific. It was the most vile display of despicable human behavior of all time. To enslave someone is literally worse than death, in my opinion. Imagine it. You're home. You're where you live. You're at home. And all of a sudden, a bunch of motherfuckers show up with guns and ropes and nets and shit. Hem you up, chain you up, throw you in the bottom of a boat with like 300 of your brothers and sisters. Half of which probably died on the way over here. Not to mention how many of those ships sank with those people chained in there. The whole thing's just gross. And I know that it's been beaten to death. The slavery thing and all of it's just been beaten to death. But the reason is, it seems, is nobody's ever said they were sorry. Of all the shit that we've done, yeah, it ended. Slavery ended. But nobody ever fucking said sorry. Hey man, I'm sorry. But I'm here to say, you know what, man? I'm sorry. I am sorry. Like, I can't imagine how horrific it was, and I don't want to imagine. And Akito is right. I don't want to identify as a descendant of a slave owner. I'm not sure that my relatives did own slaves. But I know in Europe they were royalty, so the chances of them having it were pretty good. I don't know. I just think it's a terrible, terrible thing. And my eyes have been opened to a lot of things changing since my mind started opening to a lot of different things. So what happens now? Who knows? Did anybody take my apology seriously? Who knows? But I know that I can take comfort in the fact that I'm one white person who has acknowledged it and actually apologized for it. Took some of the responsibility, you know? I didn't have anything to do with anything hateful, but I apologize for the hateful things that you've been through. And I got nothing but love and respect for all my black brothers and sisters because you guys rock. So, fuck racism. You know what I mean? We ain't got no more time for it, anyways. And things like this show and the conversations that take place are the reasons why I keep doing it. Because I feel like obviously there's still a bunch that needs to be said about these things. They're not talked out. The only way they will be talked out is to talk about them. So, until next time, don't forget, if you're going to be saying something, make it meaningful. And Cactus, till next time.